Hello, my name is Dent. This is my fourth SharkByte. No preparation this time. I'm just all off the top of my head because the events I'm about to share with you were permanently etched in my brain. I had an epic return trip fail from SharkFest EU last year. I stayed in an Airbnb about a 15-minute walk from the train station. So the day after SharkFest, it was a little bit chilly, so I put on a long sleeve shirt over my t-shirt and packed up my stuff. And I had my heavy laptop backpack and 2 pieces of luggage with wheels on them, and walking down the cobblestone streets, up down one street, up another, up another, up another. After about 5 or 10 minutes, I'd worked up a pretty good sweat, so I thought, well, I'm going to stop and take off my long sleeve shirt. And so I took off my backpack, took off my long sleeve shirt, slung the shirt over my shoulder, and grabbed my 2 pieces of luggage and walked on down to the train station. And about 6 stops into the towards Lisbon, I realized I'm entirely too comfortable. There's no backpack sitting behind me on the chair. And my face must have gone white, and I was freaking out inside. I had my laptop, my passport, everything in that backpack. And so I immediately jumped off the train and got back on the outbound ramp and jumped on the train back outbound and contacted my Airbnb host and to see if I'd left it there. I did not know where it was at that point. I was just completely blank. And so the Airbnb host sent his cleaner over there, and she confirmed that she didn't see it in the house, but I was welcome to stop by. And so I stopped by, no backpack. And she suggested we walk down to the police station, which was about a mile away. So walked to the police station, and she had an animated conversation with the officer on duty there, and no backpack. And she said it was not wise to do anything there because it would take 48 hours before they could process anything. So we walked on back towards the Airbnb, retracing my steps, and I had told her about stopping to take off my shirt. She said, well, let's walk by there, and it's not on the sidewalk. But there was a fire station just maybe 100 feet down the road from that. So we stopped in the fire station. She had a conversation with the woman on duty, and I saw her face light up, and I thought, oh, that's good news. And sure enough, I walked over to where she was standing. I could see in the commandant's office behind locked glass doors, there's my backpack in the commandant's chair. So that was not the end, though. It took about 5 or 10 minutes for the commandant to get there and pulled out my backpack. Everything was in there. So, back on track. I'd given myself about 4 hours to get to the airport via train. And at this point, I was too late to take the train. So I called an Uber. Uber guy showed up in about 5 minutes and said there had been an accident on the main road that he would normally take to get to the airport. And so we had to take an alternate route along the coastline. So he drove like a bat out of hell, trying to get me to the airport, and about halfway down the coastline, ran into the 4-lane road that he was going to take was blocked by police. So we had to take all the little side roads through the little towns all the way to Lisbon. He got me to the airport about 20 minutes before the plane was supposed to take off. And I found an airline representative, and she looked at my ticket and she said, "You're not going to make this flight." And so she said, "You got to go over to the customer service and wait over there." And I'll go over there, and there's no visible line that I could see, but there's people pointed me towards a kiosk, and you punch your information in the kiosk, and it gives you a number A, B, C, or D, 1 to 200 or something, 1 to 300 maybe. And I was, I think, B198 or something. And over the next 5 hours, they processed A's, C's, and D's, but not the B's. And eventually, after 5 hours, standing around with my luggage, they did get to me, and the woman at the counter tells me, "Well, you've got a non-refundable ticket, so buy another ticket for $1,800. And I thought, She said you could contact your travel agent, maybe they could give you a better deal, which I did, and my travel agent found one for like $1,100, which still, but I was, thousands of miles away from home. I needed to get home, so I bought another ticket, stayed a night in Lisbon in a hotel, got up the next morning, took another Uber to the airport, and went on into the kiosk when the Uber driver dropped me off. And as I got to the kiosk and went to reach for my phone, and no phone. And I'd been having a problem with the plastic belt clip that I keep my phone in at home. And at home is no problem. If I get inside at the end of the day, my phone's not there, I walk back outside, open up my car, and it's there on the seat. And this is not the case. So I raced back out to the Uber drop-off point, no driver, no phone. And so now I'm without my phone. Contact a policeman there, and he took a photo of my passport, said they'd let me know if they could find anything. No phone, but at least I made my flight. And I did get back to Boston and then to Phoenix, and that was not the end of my epic trick fail, though. I had purchased a month or two prior to that a ticket to visit my sister in Kentucky for Thanksgiving. I hadn't seen family back east for 3 or 4 years due to COVID, and I thought, well, I really don't want to travel again, but I better do this. It'll be a good, relaxing trip. So I had a nonstop flight from Phoenix to Cincinnati, and that one kind of went south too. It was a low budget airline, and about 30 minutes into the flight, there was a guy across the aisle and 2 seats forward that started going into like epileptic coma or something. And they didn't really know what was going on. The stewardesses called for emergency medical help, and a big guy from the back of the plane, maybe he was an EMT, maybe he was in the service, came forward and started helping out. And they laid the guy out on the seat, got people out of their chairs and tried to work on him there. That was not working out. He would go in and out of consciousness, and they eventually had to put him, strap him down to the chairs on the floor in the aisle, just opposite my seat. And he would alternately, be out, or he would wake up and start screaming and trying to bite people. And about 15 minutes into this, I was telling myself, they got to put this thing on the ground and get this guy help. And about an hour and a half into the flight, they finally rediverted to Kansas City. So I got to see Kansas City again for the second time that year. And maybe, another, what would have been like a 3-hour flight turned into a 6 or 7 hour flight. I did get to Cincinnati, and finally got to Kentucky and ended up at the Ethereal Brewing Company the day before Thanksgiving. So.
Exciting.